You're really mad because I hit that button more than you know.
That was so premature. It's the second time you like pre-ejaculated on the show. Pause. Like,
Yeah.
just ran over the intro. Can't even enjoy the intro now.
It's like smooth talk over the intro.
Yeah, man.
I like utter silence, and then you just ease into it.
Shout out to the dude in Indonesia who made this for us.
The dude in Indonesia. You said the
Fiverr.
You said Duhan in Indonesia. Like, you really can't say words. Damn. Let me get you Rosetta Stone.
What's good, people? It's Thursday night, live from the Good News radio station. I'm back in the lead mic where I belong.
You mean the handicap mic?
But yeah, this is Touchdowns and Tangents, your Thursday night spot for NFL takes, topical tangents, culturally concise commentary. I almost didn't blow that intro. I was this close. But to my right, as always, he's the one you love to hate. He's the king of the tangent. And if you missed Monday's night debut of Barely a Tangent, make sure you go listen to it because, well, your boy got producer creds and there's really no other reason why. But nah, I'm just kidding. Shout out to you, Kenny. What's up, man?
I could have done a better job. Give me the goddamn thing. First off, if you missed Monday's first episode of Barely a Tangent with myself and Pete in the background pressing buttons and laughing really hard and scoffing in the background, you need to check it out. It's only about 30 minutes. I had people say, it's too short. Maybe because it's for a reason. Because a tangent on this podcast could literally be a whole episode. But a tangent on Barely a Tangent isn't a tangent. It's actually something informational and really vital for you to learn, you to listen and hear about. And for a lot of people who say they don't know much about sports, it's a good way to learn. Consider it like, a Reader's Digest, but a Listener's Digest. And it's dope because I produced it and all the ideas came out of my brain. And most importantly, I didn't fuck up the intro like Pete has.
Yeah, it's just pretty much a good lead-in to start your week, just thinking about football, and culture. Because that's really what it is, the intersections of sports and culture. And, here you can expect somewhat randomness, but
ruthless, and just unforgiving amounts of slander.
But that show is pretty much the opposite.
And slight indigestion.
That show is pretty much the opposite. It's highly produced, it's fast paced, and it's just
gets right to the point.
Something to give you something to listen to on a Monday night. If the Monday night game's a blowout, or if it gets postponed and you have nothing to watch on Monday, you definitely don't have an excuse to miss Barely a Tangent. You
have no real excuse because, you could watch it during the commercial. It's only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You can literally watch that on the shitter. And let's be honest, a lot of y'all, if you were getting those unemployment checks, if you didn't fuck it all off, which if you did, shame on you, you might want to use something to take your mind off the fact that you fucked off a check. What better way to do that than listen to something that's barely a tangent, but definitely informational.
And with that, shout out to the Air Squad affiliates. Rob Calloway from HBCU Report. He's also part of that group. So he was actually one of our first guests. Shout out to them in Atlanta doing their thing.
Yep. Shout out to Bounce Beat, Mr. Bounce Beat Baby himself. Mr. You Can't Kill Him. You Can Only Make Him Stronger on Twitter. Malik Obi. And it's at NFL Malik.
Which, by the way, you totally botched his intro. That shit was bad.
Not really.
Yeah, it was. Especially because you've talked to him before.
I know, but I have to think of a different way to intro him because I don't like introing people the same way. If you go back and listen to all my interviews, when I talk to somebody more than once, I don't like to intro them the same exact way.
And you shouldn't. But yeah, also, man, shout out to Keith, shout out to Mikhail, shout out to the whole Good News Network, Good News Sports for, really giving us an extended platform.
Creative freedom to do that.
And for buying into the dream and giving Kenny the 30 and 30 he's always wanted.
That was always going to happen.
Yeah, pretty much. Just wait until they make one about us.
They're gonna get Sean Kingston to play me. I'll be really mad because the acting's gonna be shit. They get people I know from high school I don't even like literally like, man, he looked like Sean Kingston when Beautiful Girl came out.
Who plays me?
You really
wait, Eric. Who plays me?
He's about to say some shake and bake again over here.
If it's not Eric, they might try to get Eric. Might have to get fatter and like lift a little bit of weights for like 2 weeks, and they'll try to get you to play him. But
I've been fatter. I like being small. Thank you for the compliment there.
No problem.
But yeah, you gotta. Who would you cast as touchdowns and tangents?
I know exactly what I would get as Pete.
God, that putting me on the spot right there.
All right, we'll come back. We'll save it for your rant. Save it for your rant.
Maybe put it on.
Save it for your rant at the end of the show. We'll get back to it.
Maybe we'll find it on Twitter or something.
We'll get back to it. But yeah, man, shout out to Eric, the audio guy. Shout out to Alan in the room, the videographer. He came in his full videographer fit, ready to create. Shout out to him, man. Thank you.
Creators create.
Exactly. That is actually one of our hashtags. I don't care. We started it.
Yeah, Joe Budden didn't start that. Not all these famous podcasts who make a lot of money because they were already famous before they did the podcast started everything. They actually didn't.
Which, it's fucking weird to be in here with all this light. Like, I really feel like a talent. Like
you have talent or you are a talent?
Like I am a talent. With a capital T.
I really need you to unbutton that top shirt. Like, you got 3 buttons, bro. Like,
my agent said I can't.
No, like, you have a
My
neck.
agent said I need to have all 3 buttons.
That's a lie.
That's in my contract. Check my contract.
Fam.
Is that like a hipster clause?
With a side of avocado toast? You fake
Hey,
ass
avocado
vegan?
toast is pretty damn good. It's just guacamole without spice.
It's just toast with guacamole on it.
But yeah, man. So with that, we got some shit to talk about this week. Specifically, the cancellation of college football, which we're going to dive a little bit deeper into lately, but it's official. The Pac-12 canceled their season along with the Big Ten, which, you know, I think last week the Mountain West had already announced it.
It was
Big
first
Sky
the MAC.
already announced it.
The MAC.
The MAC.
The MEAC is for black colleges, but the MAC was first, then the Mountain West, then the Big Sky, and then I want to say the Big West. The Big East announced they're going to cancel it in their other sports. Georgetown's soccer team won a NCAA tournament, but they won it last year, but they're probably going to cancel that too.
Yeah, I think the Pac-12 and Mountain West canceled all sports to the end of the year.
Yeah.
So even though the winter sports that technically start towards the end of fall.
And basketball always starts in the fall, too.
Yeah,
so
basketball,
you have to cancel basketball, too.
And the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 pretty much maintain that they're going to still play.
At all costs.
Both the SEC and Big 12, issued statements essentially saying, you know, we're looking into the reasons why the Pac-12 and Mountain West canceled their seasons, but ultimately
swing states.
We're going with medical recommendations, and we feel confident that we can ensure it.
Keep in mind, Texas is a hotspot for COVID.
Which
and other things like stupidity and
to their
dirty
credit,
contracts.
Yeah, but so is Florida.
Yeah, that's true.
Florida is God's gooch.
Florida is a sex pot of coronavirus right now.
Florida is God's gooch.
Yeah.
But to their credit,
I have to say it again just so everyone can get it on the record. So we all heard
Let's
it.
get that going.
Florida is God's gooch, and it rhymes.
I thought that was Georgia.
Georgia was the slave catching state. Georgia is the taint.
That's the first cousin.
Yeah, the gooch and the taint are kind of like they're like Texarkana.
Yeah. So, but to their credit, in the NFL, we've already had 2 weeks, roughly about 2 weeks of training camp. And so far, tests have actually gone down, and they don't have a bubble.
But they actually said that, well, speaking of bubbles.
I think there's only like 0.4% of players with positive tests right now.
It's funny that you mentioned bubbles because we'll get to the Seattle Seahawks situation later. But the NFL announced that, and the Players Union announced that they came to an agreement that they're going to be testing every day starting September 5th. Like, they're going to be testing everybody every day. And the Denver Broncos showed video of them having, like, one of those showers, those disinfectant showers that Mexico had for people who were coming from Arizona. You had to walk through it. They wouldn't let you in.
That's like some real quarantine shit.
Yeah. So they have that. When you think of the ACC, the Big 12, and the SEC, it kind of just reminds me of the Civil War in the South trying to recede from the Union. Like, let's be honest, some of the most progressive conferences were like, yo, we're not going to play football. This shit is wild.
Well, I also read somewhere that, like, some of the Pac-12 schools might
want to. Who going to succeed? Who going to secede?
The USC and Stanford, pretty much.
Stanford can't do shit. Let's be honest.
They have all that tech money.
They're only because they're a private school.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that you just said there. It comes down to money. I mean, they've been saying...
Who's going to play Stanford, though?
BYU could do it, too.
Okay. Utah is a part of the Pac-12. They're in Utah.
But they're a public university.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Cal's the biggest public university, on the West Coast? In the country, arguably?
I don't know about that.
Cal's like the biggest public school in California, definitely.
But the reason why, they have different standards. They have different ways they get their money.
USC,
so
I understand
it's a
why.
whole different setup.
USC is a blue blood.
Versus like these state institutions, like you can't have a college season when we know you're going to put all these amateurs, quotation marks, at risk, and you're going to fund it with taxpayers' money. Like,
USC actually hasn't had any positive tests, but Minnesota linebacker Cameron Smith, and former USC All-American, he has to get open heart surgery. He's missing the whole season because they found like a heart problem with his positive COVID-19 test findings. So USC, what they did was they tested everybody, and none of the players had any like heart problems or palpitations or anything like that after the COVID-19 testing.
Which Eric just brought it up, but Texas A&M is actually the largest public school, and I actually knew that. Now that I think about it, I read that somewhere else before.
Texas A&M, honestly.
So the
not surprised.
Top 10: 1, Texas A&M University; 2, University of Central Florida;
What?
3, Ohio State;
Central Florida;
4, Florida International University; 5, University of Florida; 6, University of Minnesota; 7, University of Texas at Austin; 8, Arizona State; 9, Georgia State; and then 10, University of South Florida.
Cal's not even in the top 10?
Not even the top 10 in the country.
What the? Wow. That's crazy.
Well, they got those high-ass...
They're the biggest in California, but I guess...
about that, sir.
Public schools? That's what they
feel like
they brag about themselves.
Well, I mean, who doesn't?
Well, UCLA is like the hardest public school, apparently, to get into. Allegedly. That's what people brag about. They say it's like the hardest public school in the country to get into.
Well, a lot of these, LA, I mean, California, too. I mean, it's just who doesn't want to come to California from all around the world, you know?
And it's UCLA.
Tired, yeah.
But the other shit that happened this week that we have to talk about, being here in Los Angeles, Hard Knocks happened. It went down. Did you watch, Kenny?
I watched none of it.
Neither did I. But luckily, Eric here is our Hard Knocks guy.
Yes, so, I mean, really interesting, just give you a little biop of that. I mean, Hard Knocks, if nobody knows what that is going to be the HBO documentary sports series. Started off in 2001, which started with Baltimore Ravens. Basically, HBO goes around, follows these NFL teams for their training camps, kind of gets in a little more depth about the personal lives of the players, coaches, staff, their families, gives a little bit of comedy relief, some of their pranks, kind of gives it a little more of another way to look at it, other than just what you normally see on the news with the big stats, the headliners with the big draft picks, but kind of following these journeymen who are still trying to make rosters and these undrafted free agents, kind of gives you a nice feeling for kind of the underdog.
Which, by the way, I just thought about this, but I should have got my fucking former teammates on to talk about this shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, every year...
why didn't anybody suggest that?
Wait, your former teammates from high school?
Yeah, Austin Hill was like one of the stars of the Hard Knocks the last time they ran.